And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Around the Bases with Bubba and Mo, episode 20, the first one that'll start the second half of the baseball season. Before we get into the greatness that is this podcast, let me kick it over to my co-host, as always, Mo. You can find him on Twitter at Boston_Mo. Mo, how we doing?
We're doing well. What's going on, Bubba?
Not much, just a little lull in the action. The All-Star stuff's been entertaining, but other than that, not a whole lot going on. I kind of already missed baseball, and we got till Friday for the real stuff. But let's get right at it. We have a lot to talk about, and we could have talked for hours on the last podcast about the Futures game. It was a U.S. blowout. They did their thing. It was fun to watch the young pitching in there. Honeywell was just filthy. His changeup was dropping off the table, and he's been doing it all through the season in AAA for those that don't know it, but he showcased it in fine form. The U.S. bats were solid. There's a lot to like on both sides, but you can't take away a whole lot from a game like that more than just how many talented players were out there. What was your take on the Futures game?
Yeah, it was very entertaining. I didn't get to see the entire thing. I got to see, probably most of the middle of it. It's funny to see, just all the guys that, the Red Sox kind of used to have, and then Devers was in there. And then at one point, MLB Network kind of screwed up and had him in left field. And I'm like, why are they putting him in left field? What's going on here? And then, Mauricio Dubon, who I thought was kind of just a throw-in, didn't think he had kind of the skills. He played pretty well. Derek Fisher, obviously, he's already been up there with Houston. So he's, I would think he's one of the guys that's going to be their kind of trade bait. And then Kopech striking out Moncada was pretty cool, kind of laughing at him, throwing 101 miles an hour. I mean, those two guys right there will make me cry, except for the fact that we have Chris Sale. So that was kind of an awesome little, sideshow there with the two White Sox, teammates. But yeah, other than that, it was a lot of talent. Brendan Rodgers, crushed one. I mean, it was only a single, but it was, he looks like he's going to be here quickly. So you have to wonder with, with Trevor Story having such a bad season, maybe the Rockies say, hey, let's hope he has a good second half. In the offseason, we trade him. We got Brendan Rodgers coming on the fast track. That'll be an interesting kind of storyline to watch in the next 6 to 8 months to see how he does, and if Rodgers can continue raking at Double-A. But a lot of talent at that Futures game. Obviously, what a hot take that is. But I think we'll see a few of these guys, Bubba, coming up. Moncada, Brinson, et cetera, coming up pretty quickly. But Honeywell, the Rays have a lot of talent that are almost ready, and they're 47 and 43. We'll talk about it in a little bit. It's going to be an interesting trade deadline for a team like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was, like you said, the Kopech Moncada thing. That was awesome just for the fact that Moncada literally, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next day or two we see they're calling him up for the first game of the second half, because there's been no reason to keep him down this long. For those that follow Mr. Barstool Chicago White Sox, he's got something. He's found an inside scoop on, and he hasn't released it yet because he has to wait for the proper channels. But usually that means they've either made a trade or about to make a trade, or Moncada's coming up. Those are your options when it comes to Dave. So you got that going on, and then Brendan Rodgers is awesome. I like the fact that you saw some of the guys like Chance Sisco showed how great of an offensive catcher he can be. Senzel of the Reds, it really surprised. I still get surprised that he's not even moved up through the minors that fast, even though everyone says that could be the first guy they bring up to the pros. It's just kind of it's a weird way they're getting him ready.
Slow start.
But he showed in that game the talent he has. But yeah, so much to enjoy in that one. So much to enjoy, and to set us up for the Derby. Take us away on the Derby.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, that thing was incredible, Bubba. I'm going to let you comment first, but in case you guys are living under a rock, Aaron Judge won. and he won. Now, I don't want to say people are saying, well, he kind of walked away with it. Yeah, after he had to have the extra 30 seconds to beat Justin Bohr in the first round. You wonder if Justin Bohr doesn't eat that donut in his timeout. Does he hit maybe an extra one or two? I don't know. But he was on a roll. It was actually like, he didn't crush the ball like Judge and Cody hit a couple big ones. Sanchez hit a couple big ones. Bohr was just consistently. At one point, I feel like he hit like 8 in a row. I don't know exactly. I was in awe and I was watching it. I wasn't even bother counting it. But, I mean, I loved it. What do you think, Bubba?
Yeah. I had to play softball last night, so I set it up to TiVo, and I was keeping updated on my phone. I knew what happened. Like, it wasn't a shocker to me what happened. And I was racing home because I wanted to see what actually took place. And my wife was laughing at me because I'm watching it, and all she hears me is I'm like giggling like a school kid. I'm just like oohing and awing because it was awesome. It started out good. It sucked Stanton went out, but hey, Sanchez put on a show. He was done after that. You could tell he was just exhausted. But that Justin Bohr versus Aaron Judge round was insane. Like you said with Bohr, he went on a tear there, and it literally had to be at least 8. And most of them were crushed. He was just one after the other, and listening to Stanton on the microphone was priceless. He was loving it. That's what makes this so great. Bellinger. I think Bellinger was on the mic at one time, I think when Judge was hitting against him, and Bellinger goes, "Oh, I broke my mic," because he was celebrating so much. It was just awesome to watch. I would like to see the format. I like the format of the timing and all that stuff. That part's awesome. It's taken the old method and just destroyed it. The only thing I want to see is the brackets. I don't really like because a guy like Bohr should have been in the next round. He got penalized for facing the best guy on the planet. Like, that's not his fault. Now you think that makes Stanton advance and some other guys advance, but then again, maybe the guys that stopped at a certain number would have kept hitting them. You don't know. I'm pretty positive Bohr advances though, and I would love to have seen Bohr in another round because A, he's one of those that wasn't in the All-Star game like we talked about, and B, he was putting on a show for the fans, and that's what this is all about in the long run. And it was absolutely awesome. That place was roaring. It was awesome to watch.
I completely agree with the bracket thing. Obviously, the going from the 10 outs to a time limit is great because the 10 outs, you're bored. You're not of course, they still should take pitches with the time limit if it's not great. Like Fernando Tatis pitching to Miguel Sano and screwing him in the last round. He threw 3 straight pitches that Sano had to take. That is unacceptable. Okay, unacceptable. Fernando Tatis. If you didn't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. is also his son. John Heyman told us that. I don't know if you saw that tweet. That was pretty funny. He's the son of Fernando Tatis.
Is Vladimir
exactly? We weren't sure. I confirmed via Wikipedia. He is his son. I completely agree. I mean, and Giancarlo got Gary Sanchez. So Gary Sanchez shouldn't have been the 8th seed. It probably should have been, Moustakas or even Cody. I mean, Cody's great, but he's a rookie. So, there was that. And I thought it was great. Yeah, if they get rid of that, although it's kind of like you're going against each other, but at the same time, I think you just bring the best 8 guys, the top 4 move on. And that way it's like you need to know, because everyone was complaining if you go second, which is what Judge went the whole time, you know exactly what you need. You know how to pace yourself. It was one of those things where Judge, when Bohr finished, it was 22. I was like, Judge can't take any pitches. And the funny thing with Judge is there was some pitches that I thought was off the end of the bat and was like slicing like my golf swing sometimes. And I'm like, oh, that's just going to be a little, not lazy pop up, but not going to get there. And it still got out. It was insane.
Yeah, it was great to see. For like you said, if you're under a rock, you didn't know, that's one thing. If you're under a rock and you've missed the whole first half of the season and have not seen what Aaron Judge has done, well, that's shame on you because you shouldn't be listening to this podcast probably. But what he did, like you said, he just like flick his wrist sometimes, and the ball would just the spray chart on his homers. It was almost half to right, half to left, which you just don't see in the Derby. Don't see it at all. And he made it look so easy. A couple more things I would have liked to have seen. I would have loved to have seen the windows open because those balls, I would like to see how far they'd land outside the stadium when they were hitting the windows in the left field. And two, it's skipping my mind right now, but I want to know who it was that hit the roof and they did not allow it to be a home run because that ball was flying way out of there. That
might have been. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Judge hit the roof in the pregame, but I forget. I think it might have been Giancarlo. I think, but yeah, I don't know exactly.
That was bad. But before we move on, I have to ask, you made a bold statement last night that Mr. Xander Bogaerts, who has like 4 home runs this season, would have beat Aaron Judge in a Derby. I have to ask, were you just trolling the world, or do you have some kind of justification behind this?
No. Of course I was trolling. That's why I say when I end it with IMO, in my opinion, there's no way I think that Xander beats Judge. Although I feel like Xander, you never know. You never know about Xander because he in a home. Although I wouldn't want him to be in a home run derby because he's not. He might ruin his swing. Like we joke about Joey Gallo ruining his swing and focusing on his swing. Xander's not a power hitter, although he should hit 20, 25 homers every year, which is kind of frustrating. But at the same time, Xander's great.
A couple more things. If they want to keep somewhat of a bracket format, I have no problem after the first round when you're down to the final 4, having the most face the least as like a 1-4 minute. I have no problem with brackets because you said it does make an exciting factor when you like, okay, it's like a one-on-one. Like when Bellinger hits the 440-footer to give him bonus time with like 2 seconds left so then he can hit the 2 to advance. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You wouldn't get that. But you can't rob these guys when they're fresh in the first round. And the next thing, okay, Judge's farthest home run was 513, and he hit it at sea level. Can we just fast forward and give the Rockies the All-Star game next year? Because I want to see Judge hitting Coors Field.
Yeah, I would. I know it's Nationals, and I retweeted the tweet that was saying that was the first, second round the Nationals will have host in their like franchise. So, but yeah, if the Rockies got it, man, I don't even know.
But yeah, pretty awesome stuff. I could talk about it for a while. It was one of the better ones I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, Bubba, we've got trade season upon us. We're about 20-ish days away from the trade deadline, the non-waiver trade deadline. There's always trades after that before August 31st, but they got to pass through waivers, as Magic Johnson would say. So let's go here, and let's just start it this way. Before any trades happen, we're going to get to it first. I want to hear your top 5 trade targets, where they land, and then I'll give you mine. Probably be about the same.
Yeah, when I was putting this together, I have a feeling we'll have a lot of similarities. So I tried to take a couple different ones, but we'll probably have the same. And I didn't – some of them have multiple options because this could get crazy, especially with some late news we've heard. So to start it off, and honestly, it's just my top 5. You can put them in whatever order you want. But Sonny Gray is going somewhere, and the way he's pitched the last month to 2 months has been Sonny Gray-esque, you could say. He's been really, really good. And a contender's going to love him. Plus, he's got that eligibility that they like to see. So I would love to see him in Houston. That's where I'm looking. But if it's not Houston, I would not be shocked if it's the Dodgers. And a dark horse would be the Cubs, in my opinion, on that one. But Houston, that's who they should go get, in my opinion, because they already have Keuchel from the left side. I'd go get Sonny Gray. Yeah,
let me stop you real quick, and I'll stop you, and when you have the same one as me. I had Sonny Gray, and I had him at the Cubs. I just think that, they need starting pitching badly. They may need 2 starters. Lackey's not getting it done anymore. Hendricks is just fine. They already won a World Series, so I can't say can they win a World Series with Kyle Hendricks. They obviously can. The 5th starter's a mess. Lester will be fine. So I had Sonny Gray to the Cubs, but I can definitely obviously see the other 2 teams that you said.
Yeah, totally get that. The next one is one we've talked about way too much, and nothing's happened yet. And smart of the White Sox to do it. You don't have to trade him right now. You have him for 3 more years. But that's Jose Quintana. It's as simple as it sounds. If Houston doesn't get Gray, they need to get Quintana, in my opinion, just because we've talked about it so much. They're going to have to give up some very big pieces. So make sure it's a guy you can keep. Don't go get like Justin Verlander or somebody for a rental. I'd hate to see that the way they've become such a really good team and can be for, a bunch of years to come. Go get a guy you can keep. I could see him going back to the Yankees. But the thing, I'm going to mention the Yankees a lot. Well, not a lot, actually, now I think about it. But they did come out and say they're going to be very careful because they want to keep the rebuild, which I like that approach because we already said the Yankees are dead anyway, so why go, blow the system. The ones, if the Cubs don't get Gray also, they're an option. The 2 sleepers that surprised me, but they've been talked about a lot, are the Brewers and the Braves. We've mentioned the Braves before. I think those are actually really good moves. But Houston, it's like Sonny Gray's 1A and 1B to me with those 2.
Yep, I agree. I had Quintana to Houston. I don't think the Yankees will do it, although, Pineda's a free agent after the year. CC believes a free agent after the year, and he's old, even though he's pitching well lately before the injury. So yeah, Quintana. I think Yankees at Houston's definitely. You got that right there.
I think Quintana to the Yankees makes sense. Only like I said, I don't want them to blow it up. I don't want them to go crazy and make a bunch of moves because I don't think they're making the playoffs. But Quintana makes sense because he's cheap. He's there for 3 years. So as you bring, Frazier's there now doing his thing. They go and sign Harper in a couple of years. Now you have that ace to go with these guys for a year or two. That's big. That's really big instead of having to go pay for somebody else. So that goes a long ways for the Yankees in their rebuild. Number 3, I had, this one's a little different, but he's been talked about more, Yonder Alonso. And this is a guy I do think the Yankees will go after if they want to make the run because he would be amazing in that ballpark. They've been linked to Smoke, Bohr, even though the Marlins guy said Bohr's not available. Those guys would all be great there. Even Brandon Belt from the Giants would be great there. But Yonder Alonso, he's cheap. He's young. Well, he's older than most, but he's still young. I think him to the Yankees would be really good.
Well, and folks, we say this all the time. We don't talk about things. We do an outline, and we go over what we're going to talk about. We don't talk about the substance. I've got Yonder Alonso to the Yankees as well because he's 1 year left. They're not going to give up a big thing. Greg Bird is bleh. They DFA'd Carter. Tyler Austin's hurt now. So they have to make a move for someone. And I think Yonder Alonso makes the most sense for them.
Yeah. Yes. And we don't talk about we talk about the basis of the outline. We don't give any information to each other. But then again, maybe that's what makes this podcast good, Mo, is we think a lot alike. This one I don't think you'll have on your list, hopefully, but maybe you will. And I looked into it more because we're talking Washington Nationals. We talked about David Robertson a ton, which makes the most sense in the world. But I'm going to go a little different. We mentioned before, you can go Madsen or Doolittle from the A's, whatever. I would like them to go get Raciel Iglesias from the Reds. Ooh. The Reds are rebuilding, as we obviously know. They're playing well, but they still have, him to get rid of. Cozart, who's an option, even though they sometimes say he's not available. He's not. Billy Hamilton's been sneakily rumored lately, even though I'd like to see him stay there. But Raciel Iglesias, for the fact with the Nationals, he's a closer that can also go 2 or 3 innings. So now, say Scherzer only goes 7, you can give it to him for 2 and not have to worry about that crappy bullpen ruining things. I think Iglesias could be really good. And we've seen in the past with the Reds, they'll make trades like this and they don't break your bank, which is what the Nationals need because they already got trade raped by the White Sox. They can't afford to have it happen again. You might be able to get a guy like Iglesias who's very capable without, maybe even not giving up a Robles or something like that. You can give a couple other pieces, but not your big pieces. I think Iglesias could be sneaky good as a closer's option for the Nationals.
Ooh, yeah. I like the kind of, out of the box pick from you, Bubba, but I don't see it. I don't know why the Reds would do it. They have him under control for 4 more years at, he's got arbitration in 2021. He's making just under $6 million for the next 3 years. In baseball, that's nothing. I know they're not a huge market there, but they will spend money, eventually when this rebuild gets there. He's having a really good year. I know, the BABIP's a little down, but I don't see why the Reds would do it. So I don't think if they would do it, I don't think it would be cheap.
No, I didn't realize he had 4 years left, so that would not make it. I thought he had like two. Four changes a lot of that, but still.
But yeah,
the reason why I think the Reds will do it is he's such a talented arm. They can't keep moving him back and forth like they have. You either need to put him in the rotation or you make him a designated closer. They play games with that kid so much. The Nats could utilize him, and then Strasburg's due to get injured one of these days. He's had a great year, no doubt about it. But the rest of the rotation sucks. Come next year, outside of Scherzer, I'm not talking Scherzer, obviously, but Scherzer's only got, another year or two left? That means you could slot Iglesias back into the starting rotation since they gave up all that starting pitching this offseason. He can be multi-talented for them for years to come. That's kind of the angle I was looking at with Iglesias.
Yeah, no, I like it for sure. I definitely like it. I think, the Reds, if they want to, and plus, if you guys didn't watch the whole game, go watch Jimmy Herget. The kid, I think he pitched a scoreless inning. He had great stuff, kind of a little 3/4 angle. So he's one of the guys that could be coming up pretty soon to help with their bullpen. So if they decide that they can get, a king's ransom for Raisel Iglesias, they could definitely go for it for sure.
And so that was kind of my way off the wall one. Like I had to just grab one random one. But this one's a little more simple. We've talked about it. But JD Martinez, the Tigers need to just start selling anybody they can because they really don't even have that much youth to keep around. It's that bad there. We've mentioned it before. JD Martinez will be beautiful. We've mentioned the Cubs, and we've mentioned a few teams, but it comes down to the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the D-backs. I could see the D-backs overpaying because they're so close. But at the same time, I think I hate to say this, your Dodgers would look phenomenal with JD Martinez.
I don't mind it. He was one of mine I had on my list. I have an off-the-wall team. I don't think the D-backs, granted he's a rental, so maybe they do have enough. I think an off-the-wall one is the Milwaukee Brewers. Right before the All-Star break, they had a nice little run. They have so many talented outfielders that they may not have to give any of them up because he's only got a 3-month rental. You have to decide. You have Broxton in center. They've got Santana and Braun. Thames has been out there a little bit. But you have to think if they had that bat right in the middle of the lineup, okay? Santana's nice. He's had a great, few weeks here. Okay. He's batting 5th for them. He's only almost 25 years old. But they have to say to themselves, can we do it now? If Chase Anderson comes back, you got Jimmy Nelson, and then maybe they get another starter, and they say to themselves, hey, the Dodgers are great. The Nationals are great. No bullpen. Maybe something we can catch lightning in a bottle here, and we also have so many prospects that we may be able to give up a Brett Phillips for him and maybe a low-level prospect for JD Martinez. And I think that could be a risk that they could take. I mean, 5.5 in front now on the Cubs and the Cardinals. They've won 8 out of their last 10. If they continue this run, maybe they say, hey, we can get JD Martinez cheap. And let's see what we can do here without giving up, the farm.
Yeah, when it comes to the Brewers, I think they really need to, for whatever trades they make, like I think even you mentioned starting pitchers, like even if it's a rental or whatever, like a Cahill or something, just to give them a third guy to go with is huge. But for a guy like JD or something, I have no problem if it's a big-time name, them shopping Ray around, their draft pick from last year, because he's out of high school. He's got a long ways to go. These other guys are going to be able to help them real soon. And we've said many times prospects are prospects till proven otherwise. Maybe Ray flames out. He's not who they thought they were. But right now everybody thinks the world of him. Take advantage of that. use it as you can.
Agreed.
Do you have a fifth one, or did we say that one already?
Well, I mean, I got Robertson, which is the obvious one. I'm sure you went off the wall there. I mean, it's Washington. I mean, if they don't, it makes perfect sense. He's got 2 years left. Harper's got 2 years left. You know, Zimmerman's a little bit older. Wirth is a free agent after the year. You know, Scherzer's got a few years left. So they have a 2-year window to make this happen. Robinson's the obvious. We've talked about it since episode 1. So it's obvious.
Okay. Now, on the outline, we said an off-the-radar player. So I know I put one in my top 5, but I have one here, and I did it for you. So I want to hear your opinion on this.
Oh, boy.
He's available. It might cost a little bit. But what's your thoughts since, you know, you got the ear infections out at third base, and Marrero's not going to keep hitting the way he's hitting. I'm sorry. You know that, and I know that. Josh Harrison from the Pirates.
Nope. Don't need him. Don't need Josh Harrison. We don't.
You don't need a third baseman?
We have Devers. Okay. We have Devers.
When are they going to call him up?
I think they're gonna see what happens the next couple weeks. I think they may let him go to AAA for a few weeks and see how he pans out there. I hope he does, because it's quicker for me to get to Pawtucket than it is to Portland. Much quicker. It's about 45 minutes right down 95. The one thing that I think about this third base thing, and Bob Nightingale is really starting to piss me off. I got to tell you this right now. I'm just going to get something off my chest. This guy throws so many things out there. He just doesn't seem like a smart guy. The Red Sox are in for Martin Prado and David Phelps. No. Why would we take on $28 million for Martin Prado and David Phelps having a nice little year? Okay, but I want Pat Neshek. Now I'm getting into the Red Sox thing. I want Pat Neshek. I want Devers up here. And if it's anybody, I'll even pay for. I don't want to pay for him, but I'll even go get Frazier because he's a free agent in the offseason. So I'm fine with going to get 3 months of Todd Frazier. He doesn't have the average, but we need power right now because Pablo Sandoval, his inner ear infection is so deep in his head that he just can't play. So I'm Frazier. I'm calling up Devers by the trade deadline, or I'm going with it. We need bullpen help. And that's it. So I don't want anything to do with Josh Harrison. I'm sorry.
All right, I just brought him up because, like you said, all the rumors of the third baseman they're going after. I was like, well, you can go with this guy. He can play multiple positions for you.
Yeah. Nope.
All right, who are your buyers and sellers?
Well, I got an off the radar one as well. I could have thrown a couple out there. McCutcheon. We'll talk about him. Maybe Garrett Cole. If I'm a fan of the Texas Rangers, and I know, our guy, SP John, he's a big Astros guy, and he gets on the Rangers, and I enjoy it very much. He's great at what he does over there to troll them. They were crazy last year to think they were good with all their luck. You need to trade Yu Darvish. You have to. Okay. And I understand the Rangers fans. If we have any of them listening to this, okay, they're 3 games out of the wild card. They're 43 and 45. Okay. Odor's heating up a little bit. Beltre's back, heating up. Alex Gomez is back. So your lineup is back. You can certainly make a run, but you honestly think that you can win the World Series with that team? You have to be smart about this. You have to be really smart. And the team I had him going to, I've already had Sonny Gray going there. We've talked about Quintana maybe. I have Yu Darvish going to the Cubs. Okay, I just think it makes sense for them because they need another frontline guy because. Arrieta, although we'll get to him in a little bit, he's been better lately. He's been like a 3 or 4, or probably closer to a 4 in the National League. He's still in the low to mid 4s in terms of his ERA. I go get Yu Darvish if I'm Theo Epstein. I know he's had some injury troubles, but it's a 1-year thing. You probably wouldn't have to give up a ton to get him. A ton meaning like you wouldn't have to give up. You maybe give up Heimer Candelario and maybe Trevor Clifton and a low-level guy, and that would satisfy the Rangers who, sure, they could re-sign him in the offseason, but he's 30 years old, so and he missed all of 2015, only pitched 100 innings last year. He's coming up to 118. I think if you're the Rangers and you're a Rangers fan and you're realistic, let's be realistic here, Rangers fans, you need to get what you can for Yu Darvish to kind of keep this truck rolling a little bit, especially where your farm system isn't in the top half, probably.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I was looking at that one as a possible option, and I could see that being great. You said it, the Cubs need a guy badly. They have a deep farm system to help out with all the needs in the world. And when it comes to the Rangers, we could talk about it more today or some other time, but guys like Napoli and some other guys that can help teams out, those are guys that they need to trade right now. You said they're only a few games out. That's fine. But it's not what it's going to be. Darvish is a great piece to move to get multiple prospects back, some that might be MLB ready. I think that's a really good spot for him to go. He'll fit in nicely in that rotation and could definitely give the Cubs what they need because as of now, they're playing absolutely horrible. And that's not even me just trying to be sugarcoating it. They have played horrible baseball in the first half, and they do not look anything like that World Series team. They need something to spark them. And their offense even needs a little kick in the rear. But the pitching is bad. It's really bad. And if Arrieta can be a decent 3 in the rotation now and you put Darvish near the top, that's huge. All right. Who are your buyers coming up?
So, Bubba, I looked at this a different way. We obviously know who the real buyers are in terms of the teams that are leading divisions now. Well, almost all of the divisions. Let's call it outside the NL Central. You've got the Dodgers, you've got the Nationals, the Red Sox, the Astros, the Indians. They're all buyers. We all know that. So we can include them we took them off this list and focused on 2 teams. At least I did. I mean, you may have a different, format for this. I've got your team, the Tampa Bay Rays. I think at 47 and 43 in that division, where I know the wild card's closer and there's a lot more teams, but if you're at the top of the stairs of the wild card and you're looking down and you look right below yourself and you go ahead and you see Minnesota, Kansas City, the Angels, Texas, and Seattle. I know Baltimore and Toronto right there too, but those 5 teams right now are percentage points better than Baltimore and Toronto. Do you fear any of those teams? No, you don't fear any of those teams. I mean, Kansas City is just the weirdest thing of all time. I mean, they lost 3 straight going into the All-Star break, but I have Tampa Bay as a buyer, especially they have all major league ready players as their top prospects. Honeywell, Adames, De Leon, just to name a few. I don't think they're trading Honeywell. I don't think they're trading Adames, but De Leon, I don't know, So I think they are a buyer. I really do, because they could be in for the division as well. And then my second one that's a buyer, 100% in my opinion. Now, this could change in a couple weeks. I really do, when I just talked about them, and I will keep it short. I really think Milwaukee's a buyer. I do. Their system is perfect. Now, buyer to a point. You're not giving up Lewis Brinson. You've mentioned Corey Ray giving him up because he's young. He may not get here quick. I'm not sure I would do that. Maybe Brett Phillips. They have to decide which one of those outfielders they're going to build around. Maybe 2 of the 3. One of them they've got to decide, hey, we're trading this one because we have a surplus of outfielders here, and we need something better, something to help us. So those are my 2 buyers. Curious to hear your thoughts, and maybe if you have any other than the 7 that I listed.
Well, I agree. The obvious ones are the division leaders. So, yeah, take them out. The Rays, Brewers, can't argue those at all. That makes total sense. The only other ones I possibly mentioned would be the Twins. I didn't expect them to be buyers, but they're still up top, and they're rumored in a lot of action right now. I don't know if they'll be heavy buyers, but they're rumored to be making moves, which I can't say I'm 100% with, but at the same time, I don't know how they're going to do it because their farm system is not that good. It really isn't that good. So I'm curious with that, but I get it. They're going for it. They have a young nucleus that's already up, so you never know what they could pull off there. And then I think we might need a few more weeks to let things iron out some more. But I think the D-backs will try to be the best buyers they can with limited options for the fact that they still have a great shot at a wild card. I think the Rockies, like I said a long time ago, they're starting to show that it's just not that run they made in the road earlier in the year is falling apart real quick. And that pitching's still hanging on, but I don't think it will all season. The D-backs are the one that's kind of I don't know. Like Rays, Brewers, yes. Twins are surprising me, but they're in the mix. D-backs are the sneaky one if they can figure out what they can deal, even if it means something crazy like we talked about before. You flip a Pollock, but you get like 2 or 3 guys back, and one's maybe an outfielder that can somewhat help, not to fill the void, but you get the other pieces you need. They're going to have to get creative, is what I'm saying, but they can do something. The bright side is you don't have Dave Stewart running the mess right now. When it comes to sellers, I'll kick it off here. We could talk pretty much any team that's out of like third place and below. That's pretty freaking simple. But we've talked about one, my Giants. They have to sell. If they don't sell stuff, I'm going to be just even more pissed on a year that I didn't think I could be as pissed. You mentioned the Rangers. That is phenomenal. And then you get your obvious ones, like we've talked about, the White Sox, the Reds, and then the Mets. Those are your big ones for me. What do you got on those?
Yeah, just a quick note on Arizona, and I've said this all season. I also think that they are quote unquote a buyer because they're going to make the playoffs. They just are, because the wild card, unless they go on a Colorado free fall here, they're going to make the playoffs because they're so far ahead of all those teams, just so far ahead. I just don't think they have anything to really buy with. I'm not sure that they can go get what they really need to get. I think they just got to keep the ship rolling, hope they draft well, and rebuild that farm system at a time. The same as you, your Giants, man. What a first year of the podcast for your Giants, just to be out of it. You can't get all high and mighty like I do with my Red Sox. That could have been embraced debate. It could have been really a lot of content there. White Sox, Oakland, Detroit is the team that is going to be interesting to watch. Verlander, they have to try to sell him as much as they can. They're going to have to eat some money, that's for sure. He's got 3 years left after this, and it's a lot of money. I think it's like almost 70, 80 million, something like that. One of them is a vesting option year that I'm guessing will probably kick in. That is the team to watch, what they do. We already mentioned JD Martinez. They're already talking about trading Justin Wilson as well, so that's a sneaky, sneaky guy to watch out for. The Mets, like you said, another team that's going to be interesting is the Miami Marlins. Now, I'm sure we're going to talk about this next week. Jeter's got Michael Jordan in on this. Mitt Romney's kid's still involved. Jed Bush is trying to pull someone else now. I don't know what the hell he's doing. So you wonder whether new ownership is going to come in and say, hey, stay put, or let's shed some salary so that when we buy this, we don't owe as much salary. I think they'll probably, outside of the easy ones, which is, talk about Prado maybe, I think they're going to mostly stay put because the ownership's going to want to do a full kind of just walkthrough of the entire thing, the team, the farm system, the management, everything. So I think they're going to mostly stay put. And then, Bubba, the fringe teams, I'll just mention them real quick. I think the couple that are tough are Texas, like we mentioned, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
Yeah.
Man, I think Orioles fans know they're not going anywhere, but do they want to just full sell? Can't comment. I would not full sell, but you look at any avenue, you look at a Manny Machado, you look at, I mean, Chris Davis won't be able to shed that contract. You look at a Wellington Castillo, there's not much to trade there, but you look at all avenues if you're Dan Duquette in the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, I had the Orioles down towards the bottom, but I agree 100% because they're another team that's farm systems pretty much nothing. And as bad as it sounds, as an Orioles fan, trust me, as a Giants fan, I feel it. You need to look into guys like Machado, who's still young, has another year left, that you could probably get a couple pieces for to help rebuild things because Machado's not coming back anyways. Accept that now. He's going somewhere else. I'd be shocked if he comes back. But, Chris Davis, yeah, some of those contracts are going to be tough to move along. But even Trumbo's not that expensive. They got him a lot cheaper than they thought. He's a power bat that could help at least an AL team out. There's options there with Baltimore. Definitely are. Let's talk about a team that I didn't mention as a buyer or a seller because they're like on that fine line. And I'm talking about the Anaheim Angels or the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who have hung around, actually put up some somewhat better offensive numbers once Mr. Mike Trout hit the DL for the first time. Well, they get him back this Friday. How have they done it this long, and can they make the push, Mo?
Yeah, it's really a mystery. I mean, when we previewed the season, we said we're not going to spend too much time on this, and I actually put this in the outline because I was just flabbergasted that they're doing this without Trout, and even with Trout, they'd be doing it. So we won't spend too much time on this either. I mean, since he's been out, they went 19-20, which is crazy. And looking at some individual stats over the last 30 plus days, I mean, he's been out for a little bit more than 30 days, but Andrelton Simmons he's having a really nice season. I mean, last 30 days, batting .317. I mean, Yaniel Escobar just doing what he normally does, gets on base, batting .290, doesn't give you much power or anything else. But other than that, there's not much there. I mean, Maben, Calhoun, they're in the 230s, 240s. Pujols, he's not giving much. There wasn't much there. I mean, they just somehow were able to win games. But the one thing that I did find, their bullpen's been nice lately. I mean, it's been really nice. I mean, Bud Norris has found his way. I mean, we all know he's kind of a prick. He's found his way. Bedrosian's come back from the DL and has been really, really good. And then David Hernandez and Yasmiro Petit have been good too. I mean, they've been really good. I mean, David Hernandez last 11 games, he's got 11 innings, 11 4.5 Ks per nine, 2.45 ERA, 1.69 FIP. Really, really good ground ball rate of 61%. So that's awesome. Petit, not striking a ton of guys out, but 3.21 ERA and 2.93 FIP is respectable for him, especially where he hasn't been much in his career. If Alex Meyer could figure out his control, he'd be a pretty good piece for them. He just can't figure it out, so he's up and down. He's in the high fours. So the bullpen's been really, really good for them. I don't see it. I don't understand how Mike Scioscia's doing it. They don't really have a ton of pieces to trade. The only one that they have is Maben, and he's not even great. That's the guy I mentioned way back when that the Nationals maybe could go get. Now Michael Taylor's hurt too. The Nationals could go get for a lower guy. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I was just wanting to bring up how surprising it is that they're even in.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you said Maven's not that good, but even in this run, he's been very, very formidable. He's been pretty darn good for what we'd expect from Cameron Maben. And you just have little guys getting it done. Calhoun's been decent, not great. Pujols has really not been that good at all. It's come down to that pitching. Even Velasco in the last months had some really great starts out of nowhere. It's been crazy to see with the Angels. Very crazy.
They would have a chance, honestly, because the Hamilton contract's done after this year, I believe. And if the Pujols contract was almost done, they would have a chance to really go out and splash some money out there for a pitcher, for a Manny Machado. They would really have a chance to do that. But, with that Pujols money, that's just going to eat up. So, it sucks for Angels fans. But, hey, Hey, so sorry, guys. So sorry. Let's go, Bubba. And we haven't done it yet. We're halfway through the season. Let's revisit some of our season predictions and then our over-unders. I'll start with the season predictions. I'm going to start with the AL, and you can do the NL. Let's just get this out of the way quick. We both have Boston and Cleveland winning the AL East and the NL Central. Hey, well done so far. Well done. Cleveland's picked it up. My Red Sox have picked it up. The both of us, we overanalyze this so hard because of the Houston pitching. We both had Seattle. Now, we know they wouldn't be leading the division, but with all those injuries, they might be a little bit better than they were now. I mean, they literally had their whole rotation other than Giovanni Gallardo out. So we had them winning the West. That's not going so well. And then I had Houston and Toronto, and you had Houston and Tampa Bay as the wild card. So, you know, you got it so far. You're 4 for 5. I'm 3 for 5. What do you think about at least those kind of the predictions that we had before you get to the NL?
So far, so good. Boston, Cleveland, Houston should definitely give us at least 3 for sures. Seattle's only 4 out of the wild card, and they're getting healthy, like you said, so you never know if they have a run in them to make us look somewhat decent. They're not going to win the division. That's for damn sure. Tampa Bay's the one that I'm curious if they can hang on. I think they can, but it's going to be real interesting. And then you got Toronto, your team, that was dead and has been resurrected. I don't know if they'll make it, but yeah, Boston, Cleveland, Houston. At worst, Tampa Bay wins the East and Boston wins the wild card, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, it's not funny. Go ahead.
When we go to the National League, we both had the Mets. That's going swimmingly. At least we both had the Nationals in the wild card, so we got that out of the way. We both had the Cubs, not looking that good either. We both had the Dodgers. Geniuses, Mo. We're freaking geniuses on that one. And then we already said the Nats in the wild card. Our other wild card is the Giants. That one's probably the worst pick on the board right now out of all 10 teams. That one is just dreadful. At least, I guess I could say at least you sunk with me on that one, so it doesn't look completely homery. But, yeah, the National League's not looking as strong. We have 2 of the 5, and the Cubs we still think makes a run, but we didn't do very good in the National League. But I think as a whole, we've talked about the standings before in the National League. It's just a freaking disaster.
I'm not here to make excuses, but, if the Mets fired Ray Ramirez before the season, we might have a shot at the wild card there. Again, I still think the Cubs are going to figure it out, whether it's a trade. They'll get there to the division. I'm not sure they can get to the wild card. I mean, the 7 games out of Colorado. Colorado could keep going. I'm not really going to comment on the Giants. There really is nothing you could do there. I mean, when you lose Bumgarner, again, you still probably wouldn't be in it per se, but you just can't lose Bumgarner and expect to contend there. So, yeah, nationally not going so hot, but I'm not sure many people would have Milwaukee or, maybe some people at Arizona. I don't think anyone would have Colorado. Arizona is the only one that I could see that people could have had because, new manager, and I love that guy, Torey Lovullo. I love him. I wish he was still in my town. But he isn't. So I think a lot of people could have picked that one. Now, let's go to the over-unders, Bubba. We start with another one I overanalyzed, Aaron Judge. At the time, so we taped this episode, I believe, on May 8th, okay? So I kind of went back and forth here. The over-under was 35.5 homers. At the time, he had 13, okay? I took the under because I overanalyzed everything. You took the over. Since then, he has 17 homers, okay? He's walking more, striking out a little bit more. The ISO's down. The BABIP's way up. The average is up. So everything's up. But you're obviously going to get to 35.5 homers. You nailed that one. Comments, concerns?
Yes, Aaron Judge is a monster. That one, you rarely get easy ones like that, so I'm just going to take it without being too cocky about it. But that one's pretty darn easy because there's a couple coming up where I look real foolish. So we'll just move on from that and take it easy for you.
Okay. Mookie Betts, my guy, set this one at 22.5. At the time, he had 4 homers. We both went over, so we're both smart here. He's hit 12 homers since then. Average is down. Surprisingly, the BABIP is down too. So he's somehow going to keep it going. He might keep it going here, and it might even get better. He actually stole 11 bases since then. So and the ISO is up to 227 from 200. So we nailed that one. That one. I mean, I thought that I set that pretty well considering where he was after a month or so. But he's been power wise, and that leadoff spot too. He's been really nice. Next one I set, Bubba, is Starlin Castro. 290 average. Fortunately, he got hurt a little while ago, or a week or two ago. Before it, he was 354 average. We both took the under. Since then, he's been about 281 for a total right now of 313. So we're still in our wheelhouse here because he went down about 40 points. But, you still confident with that pick?
Not as confident as I was before, but yes, I'm going to stay confident because I think the regression is going to continue. I think he's that guy that wants to hit for power when he's not a total power hitter, and that's going to lead to a lot more outs. But he's in a great offense where he's going to get pitches to hit, and he's shown he can do it really, really well. So 290 is going to be a really solid number. He's going to be, I think, 295-ish, if not below it. It's going to be interesting. I like it. I think we're good, but it's going to be really tight.
Yeah, and the BABIP came down a little bit, but it's still at 357. Last 4 years, 305, 298, 337, 290. So we're probably, like you said, still looking at a little regression there with the BABIP. So that's kind of going in our favor. Next one, Bubba, Lance McCullers. 175 innings, I said to that. I had the over. You had the under. They had the phantom 10-day DL that the Dodgers are using. I'm sure there'll be another one in August or so. Before the phantom DL, he had 7 starts, 42 and 1/3 innings. We've talked about the innings limit before, Bubba. Since then, he had 49 innings in 9 starts for a total of 91 and 1/3. So he needs around 85-ish innings. You still confident with the under? I would be.
I am incredibly confident with the under because I thought they'd only shut him down one time, but they've already done that for me. The second time's coming, like you said. He might not get shut down, but they're going to skip a start here and there. He's getting like around 160, maybe even 150. 175, I'd be shocked if he gets there. And even his last few starts, he hasn't gone deep because he's actually looked a little suspect since his return from that phantom DL. Speaking of the phantom DL, if anybody missed it, Rob Manfred had his State of the Union address, and he even quirkily said he doesn't like how teams are using the 10-day DL. So see if something gets changed there. But yes, the under is looking very nice.
Yeah, and just remember, folks, I mean, we didn't include playoff innings. I fully expect him to pitch in the playoffs. They'll make it work. They got Morton back. Fires has pitched better, really, really good lately, actually. So he's not the gas can that he was at the beginning of the season for some DFS folks that were fading him. And then if they get Keuchel back, then you can, like you said, kind of pick and choose there. And then also, maybe have an 80-pitch 5-inning game when they're winning 6-1. Take him out, let Davinsky go 8 innings, the rest of the game. So that's great. But next one, Bubba, we disagreed here. Michael Pinata, okay, the human pinata, 4.00 ERA. I went over, you went under. Before, at the time, he was 3.12. Since then, 11 starts, 61 innings. His Ks per 9 have gone down from 11 to 7. His walks have almost doubled. The homers are about the same. ERA 5.11, FIP 5.13. Okay, for a total now of 4.39. So he's already over that 4, and we still got a couple months left. I don't think you're confident in this one, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. The home run, the fly ball is the same. Ground ball is actually better. And he's not striking guys out. So his fastball is basically getting left on a tee, and he has looked worse than the Pineda of old. Like, it's been bad. So yeah, that's a loss. I'll chalk that up already.
Okay, so I didn't overanalyze that one. This will be pretty easy. Well, not pretty easy. It'll be close, I think, towards the end. But in terms of, like, we both went under here for Ryan Zimmerman, over 30.5 homers. Nice line right there. His average in BABIP and ISO, like we mentioned, has gone way down. So before it, he had 13 home runs at the time that we taped that. And his ISO was 444. His BABIP was 438. His average was 410. Okay. Since then, 6 homers, almost the same RBIs, actually, which means he's kind of, he's not hitting homers, but he still has some clutch hits around his scoring position. K rate same, walk rate same. His ISO is at 150. Since then, 314 BABIP, 278 average. So not terrible, but I think we both know that he was going to slow that down a little bit and come back to the means. But at the same time, he's got 19 homers. So, 12 homers isn't too much to ask for the last 3 months. Only 4-ish homers per month. I mean, I know we're almost halfway through July, so call it 5 homers per month or whatever it is. Do you think that he's going to get there, or do you think that he gets around the 25 to 29 range?
I think we're going to sneak under this one. I think we're going to get it for the biggest factor. We have not seen a Ryan Zimmerman DL stint yet, and we know it's coming. That is coming with flying colors. So, like you said, he only had 6 homers since we talked last, and he's got 70 more at bats in that time period. So he's still going to be very productive, but not that much.
Okay. Eric Thames, however you say it, doesn't matter. We had 2 of them here, okay? We had a 290 average. We'll start with that one. At the time, he had a 327 average, okay? Since then, 193, okay? For a total of 248. So that one we had both under. We nailed it. Perfect. Great job. He's not getting over 290. It's not happening. Great. Now this is the one that's interesting. 30 homers was the line set by you. I had the under, you had the over. At the time, he had 13 homers. That's when I traded them in my 20-team league for James Paxton. It's worked out okay so far. Since then, 10 homers. ISO before then, 416. ISO since then, 242. Not too shabby. K rate is up from 21 to 30. So people figured him out a little bit. The Reds stopped pitching him right down the plate, which is something you don't want to do to anyone, even maybe me. So he's got 23 homers. I get the under, you get the over. He's got 2.5 months left. You think he gets there?
Honestly, I should be super confident about 7 home runs or 8 home runs. I still think he gets there. It's just, even the 10 he's hit since we last talked, what do you have, like 5 of them the last 2 weeks? He had like a big spurt again. Mm-hmm. So in reality, before the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he was sitting at what, 20 maybe? Not even 18. So I think he gets there. That ballpark's huge for him, but it's a lot closer than I think it should be when I first made that number.
Yeah, last 14 days he's got 3 homers. He's got 7 in the last 30, which means he had around 3 from May 8th to June 11th. So yeah, he kind of turned it on a little bit here. But yeah, I'm not. I think both of us shouldn't be. I mean, you should be more super confident because you only need about you only need 8 to get over that 30. That's not a ton in 2.5 months. He can just end up playing at Coors. He'll probably have a couple games at Coors that he figures out. We'll get through these last couple. Billy Hamilton. I don't need to spend too much time on this. Over 15.5 stolen bases. You just went by the steamer or the projections, whatever. I kind of laughed at it because I thought that was way, way low. Before it, he had 19. Since then, I guess it's slowed down a little bit because he, 148 plate appearances to 230. He's got 19 on both of them for a total of 38. So we're both going to hit that one. That's not going to be too hard. Trevor Cahill, this one's kind of an incomplete one because he got hurt, unfortunately. The over-under was 375. And we both went under. So it's kind of incomplete there. He's only had 3 starts since then. He had a 3.06 ERA. And right now he has a total of 3.38 ERA. So that one's kind of incomplete, but at the same time, we're still doing okay there. It depends on where maybe he gets traded, like you said earlier. And then the last one, we can get through it. Jake Arrieta, 4 ERA. We both went over. He had a 4.63 ERA before then. Been a little bit better, Bubba, lately. He is a 4.21 ERA, and so he's still around the 4.35. Do you think that he gets under there? Do you think maybe he has a spurt? It's a contract year for him. He needs to. He's always said he wants to get paid a lot of money. Who wouldn't? But he's kind of been vocal about it at the start of 2 years ago. Do you think we're fine with the over? Do you think he kind of has a nice second half here?
I think he has a good second half. I don't want to say great because he has been better since we last looked at this. His velocity's better. A lot of things to like about Arrieta, but he still has those blow-ups. And even since we talked last, his Ks are down, which is scary because it just means he's not fooling as many guys. You got those Wrigley games when the wind's blowing out. That's not going to help him at all because that's actually – people think sometimes that's a joke. Well, when he's played DFS, I pay attention to this. When the wind's blowing out, he gets shelled. He has not pitched good in those situations. So let's say half of the rest of his starts are in Wrigley and say half of those are with the wind blowing out. Well, that could be ERAs of 8 or 9. Look at Lester on Sunday. So it's going to be close. You said 4.35 right now. I think we're still okay, but it's going to be close. The guy's a good pitcher, so it wouldn't shock me. But I think we got this.
Okay, cool. Quick DL news. Not many of them. Jason Kipnis to the hamstring or to the DL with a hamstring injury, which is not great. You don't want to have him lingering with that hamstring injury. I believe at the beginning of the season, it was his arm, right, Bubba, at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't had it this season so far, and maybe it's just they're playing well lately, and they can give him kind of a break in the middle of summer. Tim Beckham to the DL with an ankle injury. Do we see Willy Adames coming up soon? Maybe, probably not. But let's watch out for. Those are the only ones I have for the AL. Bubba, what do you got for the NL?
NL, Edison Volquez of the Marlins. He went to the DL with knee tendonitis. Donnie Mattingly, if you can trust what he has to say, he doesn't think it's too bad. He can be back as early as the 16th, so he'll probably be back beginning of next week. Neil Walker, another Mets to the DL. He's got a partial tear in his left hamstring, and he's going to miss several weeks. So, yeah, notch another one up for the Mets. And then you mentioned it earlier, Michael Taylor of the Nats. They already lost Adam Eaton this year. He's going to the DL with a mild right oblique strain. Dusty Baker, who I don't believe anything he says, says it's not too serious and he shouldn't be out for too long. They're hoping to get him back by early next week. But those oblique strains, we've seen how they can linger. And a guy like Taylor, that's kind of scary. I wouldn't rush him back. They're already going to make the playoffs, but that's just my 2 cents. And one more I just wanted to mention. I heard it today, and it's the most Mets thing in the world. I'm going to say they're not going to make the playoffs. I know it's a bold prediction. But Noah Syndergaard, who we've said before, if they're out of it, why rush him back? Why even pitch him the rest of this year? They've already had reports coming out of their front office that to get him back sooner, they're going to start him in the bullpen until he can stretch out to be a starter. The Mets do not understand how to take care of talent. I saw that, and I was just like, can I be a GM? For Christ, if this is what's qualified to be a general manager, Mo, let's take a team. Let's email Gino and Jordan. Let's take a team, because apparently We can throw shit at a wall, and we'll be able to take a freaking team. I heard that, and I'm not even a Mets fan. I'm a Syndergaard fan. I'm a baseball fan. And I had to rant for that came out today. I had to rant a little bit about that. That blew my mind. It was one of the beat writers for the Mets tweeted it out. It came from their front office, and I was just taken aback. It was unbelievable. Mets being the Mets right there.
Oh my God, what are we doing? I mean, I have enough trouble with, sometimes this ownership for the Red Sox, but I can't imagine being a Mets fan. Can't imagine.
Like, literally, Syndergaard should not pitch the rest of the year. They're out of it. Nope. Just rest him, bring him back next year. You want to bring him back early to come out of the bullpen? Why? What the hell is the point?
Shut him down. Shut him down.
All right. We recapped our over-unders from earlier in the year. We're going to make some predictions for the second half. I have a hand, like 10 or so. We'll do them super quick. I just want your opinion on them. I'll give you mine. We'll move on, like kind of rapid fire. First, Aaron Judge. He's got 30 home runs. First, this one's simple, I think. The rookie home run record's by Mark McGwire of 49. Does he go over or under 49?
Over.
I got over too. Now, the real question, over under 55?
Under.
Okay, I go under as well. I like that. So we'll go 2 overs, 2 unders. That's how I keep track, writing down stuff. Okay, Billy Hamilton. I wrote him down again. He has 38 stolen bases through 81 games. Over under 70. He needs that'd be 32 stolen bases the rest of the way.
Over.
You got over. I'll go over with you. It's closer than you think, though, because he only has like 70-something games left. Cody Bellinger, 25 home runs in his first 70 games. That's amazing. We know. So they have they played 89 games so far. Over under 42.5. That's 18 home runs to get over.
Oh, baby. It's supposed to be rapid fire. Yeah, it's
a tough one.
It really is a tough one. I still think he's going to hit a wall, so I'm going to go slightly under. I think he gets to the 38, to 40 range. I still think he goes slightly under. And maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but that's where I think he lands. I just don't think he can hit a home run every single time. He just can't.
Yeah, I got the under. I'm thinking 38 was the number I picked, so I'm with you there. Nolan Arenado, we know he's a monster, so I say that ballpark. He has 70 RBIs through the first 89 games, so he's got 73 games to go, or give or take. Over under 130 RBIs.
Oh, over. Yeah, he last 2 years he had 130, 133. Yeah, I'm going to go over there, especially in that park, and he's just a monster this year, an absolute monster. Not that he isn't the rest of the years. I mean, I know his home runs are, I guess they would say slightly down, considering he hit 40 both times. But I think he goes over.
I'm going under.
Okay.
This one's for you. Travis Shaw has 19 home runs playing 78 games this year. Over under 32.5. That's 13.
I don't want to swear here, but that just brings a tear to my eye. Oof. That's a man on a mission right there. I mean, his ISO is higher, obviously. I mean, he's only had a couple years. The BABIP's not out of whack. Slugging obviously way up. Yeah, what'd you say, 31.5?
32.5, so he needs 14 more.
He's 14 more. I think he gets there. I think he's just a man on a mission. I think he if I listen to the Section 10 podcast, which is the Red Sox podcast, which is Carabas and Pete Blackburn and Steve Peralta. They had him on there, and he said some interesting things about John Farrell and the way that he handled last season, especially when they brought Aaron Hill in and a couple other things that they did. So I think that he's a man on a mission. He gets to the 35 range.
Yep, I'm 100% on board with that. Now, to make you feel better, I did one for myself. The Giants have 56 losses through 90 games. So the Giants, they have 72 games left. Over under 100 losses.
Oh, I'm going under because they're going to get Bumgarner back, and people don't look at don't look at his minor league rehab starts. Just let those go. I mean, it's going to be
He
under.
was really good.
Yeah, you're not losing 100 games.
But they only have to lose 44 of the last like 72.
Yeah, but I still think you'd be better. I mean, the only thing that will hurt me on going. So you're going to go over then?
I'm going over 100.
The only thing that can hurt me on this going under, because Bumgarner's coming back. He's going to be great. You know he is. He's just that's who he is. Even if he doesn't have his great stuff, he'll adjust. The only thing that hurts me here is if they go and they just trade Cueto, and if Melanson gets healthy, you trade Melanson, and they somehow get rid of Pence, and I don't think they can trade Belt with his new contract, but and then Nunez, and then they go and trade everybody. That's the only thing that hurts me. But I still think if they keep most of the guys, even if they trade Cueto, I still think they get under 100 wins, like 95-ish, 96, something like that.
Your Dodgers have 61 wins through 90 games, 72 games to go. Over under 100 wins. Can they get 40 more wins?
Yeah, I'm going over.
Yep, I can't blame you there. I'll go over with you. All right, your Mookie Betts has 16 homers and 15 steals in 86 games. This isn't an over-under. This is a yes or no. Does he go 30-30?
Yes.
Okay. I go yes as well. I think he's just so goddamn good. He's starting to find his groove. He's going to be scary. In 83 games played, obviously the Astros have played more. George Springer, 27 home runs so far. Over under 42.5. 16 homers.
I'm going to go under.
I don't blame you. I'm going over, but I think that was going to be really close. Another Red Sox for you. Christopher Sale has started 18 games in the first half, has 178 strikeouts. Now, assuming he starts another 15 or 16 in the second half, over under 330 strikeouts. That's basically 152 Ks.
That is insane. 330. That would be by far a career high.
But he's on pace.
No, I know. Trust me. I know he's on pace, but he does have a second half drop off at times. I'm gonna go under 330.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think he gets to?
I think he gets to 310, 315.
Okay, I'm going to go under. I really want to go over with him, but I do agree with the second half swim. Another one, Mad Max, 18 games started, has 173. Does he go over under 330?
Dusty Baker is going to ruin him, like absolutely ruin him if they don't get a bullpen stat. He literally one of those, the game that he had the no hitter, it was like insane. So what did we say, 330 again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over. I think he does get there because they just, hopefully he doesn't throw his arm out, but I think he gets there.
Yep, I got him going over. I think they're going to use him, like you said, and run him into the ground. Unlike Sale, who they'll be somewhat smarter with. I know it's Farrell and you don't love him, but Scherzer, we know Dusty will just ruin. And the last one, the Houston Astros have 60 wins through 89 games, over under 100.
Yeah, they get there too. That division's terrible.
Yeah, the division's the only reason why, because I think they'll start to take it easy come September, so they might surprise some people. But yeah, I think the division lets it happen for them. Why don't you take us away to what to watch for?
Okay. Now this one's tough, Bubba, because Russ, the resource, doesn't come out with everything, but big series this weekend in the AL East. I feel like we have the Red Sox on here every time, but it seems like they have a big series every weekend. The Yankees at Red Sox. Right now and it's 4 games. They have a doubleheader Sunday, which I didn't even realize, and I might actually try and go to that game. So we'll see where game 1. We'll see how that goes. Game 1 of the whole series Friday. I got Pomeranz. We got Sale, and then game 1 on Sunday, Porcello. Game 2, Price. So we have, everybody in there ready to go. Erod would be, probably before at this rate. Porcello's pitched well lately, but when Erod comes back, he'll be one of the guys too. So that rotation is looking good right now. Who knows with the Yankees with what they got? I'm sure we'll see Severino. I'm sure you'll be able to set it up perfectly. We'll see Severino, Pineda, Tanaka, and Montgomery. I'm sure they'll set it up that way, but we'll find out exactly how they do it. Again, huge series here. Where right now, and I lost it real quick, but we are, 3.5 games in front of them in the Rays. Obviously, the Yankees have been on a tailspin. Milwaukee took them to the woodshed a little bit. They lost, 7 out of the last 10, 45 and 41. Talked about Pineda earlier. Severino, with one of the Milwaukee starts, they needed a Clint Frazier walk-off, not get swept there. So it's a big series for them. I mean, if we take 3 out of 4 here, gain 2 games on them, I'm not going to say it's over, but I don't want to say I told you so about the Yankees. It's just not their year, and the Yankees fans, I say it every time, I hope they know it.
Yeah, I totally agree. If Boston takes 3 out of 4 sweeps, it pretty much ends the Yankees. Well, at least they won't be buying. Let's put it that way. But if the Yankees come in and take 3 out of 4, you might be getting some nice little tweets coming your direction. But that can make for an interesting series already out the gate to start the second half.
Yeah, and then the second one, Bubba. I mean, we can go real quick. I mean, it's a small one in a way in terms of the wild card. Rangers at Royals. Unfortunately, the Rangers or the Royals starters aren't out there. But again, I'm sure you'll see Duffy, you'll see Vargas, maybe even Hamill. But Rangers got Martin Perez, Hamels, and Darvish going. They're at KC right now. The wild card, KC's 1.5 back of the Rays and the Yankees, and the Rangers are 3 back. I'm not even going to tell you, what they are in the division, even though Kansas City is only 3 back of the Indians. So we could say they're still in it games wise, but they're not. But kind of a big series here. We look at home and road record. The Rangers have been awful on the road. 18-25. They haven't been great. What do you think about this series? I mean, we spoke about the Royals and what we think they should do. Talked about the Rangers today. This could be a series where the Royals say to everyone, "We're staying in it," and then the Rangers could have my Yu Darvish trade coming next week.
Yeah, no, it's kind of that. You're exactly right. It's a lot to do with what we said on the buyers and sellers. There's a handful of teams that are right on that brink where they got to make up their mind real quick, and this is big. But for the Rangers, bright side here, they're not in Arlington, so you got the nice pitchers park there. Perez has pitched pretty decent. He's not great. He's the worst of their 3. But Cole Hamels has come back and pitched really well off the DL, and you got Darvish. I could see the Rangers taking 2 out of 3. At the same time, the Royals, they find magic all the time. So it's a very interesting series to see how it all comes together, but definitely we'll have some implication come trade deadline, come postseason eventually, but I think it's a little too early to go completely that direction. But, yeah, definitely some implications on that one.
Yep, great.
All right. That wraps it up for today, Mo. Any last words?
No, enjoy the All-Star game tonight. It doesn't count anymore, folks, but so hopefully we'll see some kind of cool things. Interesting lineup. We'll see how they handle the pitching. I'm sure everyone will get to play now, but we'll see about that. And yeah, we get some. It's Bubba. July is a great month for baseball with the trade deadline, with call-ups. We've talked about it often. I think down the line we'll have some cool things on the Twitter account around Bases Pod, and maybe a blog coming through from me and whatnot, and then always listen to your quick hits because you've been killing it this year in baseball.
Yeah, thank you on that. And yeah, check out the All-Star game. I got it on in the background right now, and they're doing the opening ceremony. They brought Jose Fernandez's mom out, and they're bringing out Hall of Famers from all like the Latin countries to throw out the first pitch. So there's a lot of cool stuff on this one, but the Jose Fernandez part's pretty cool. So check that out. And remember, tomorrow night the ESPYs are on, so boycott ESPN, please. Don't watch that, but go to MLB Net. Go to MLB Network. You got the AAA All-Star Game. It's not quite the Futures game, but there's still a lot of good ball players in that. It'll be much more enjoyable. Trust me on that one.
Hey, Rusney Castillo is a AAA All-Star, so make sure you check him out. It's an exciting prospect for the Boston Red Sox. That kid's going to be special one day.
If you ever wanted to see a multi-million-dollar prospect, tune in to the AAA All-Star Game. He's there in flying colors for you. But that'll do it. That'll be episode 20 of Around the Bases Pod. Everybody, thanks for listening. Remember, as Mo said, check us out at Around Bases Pod. Mo's on Twitter at Boston_Mo. I'm at BDintric. But as always, thanks for listening. Episode 20 in the books. We'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.